Well, there are a couple thoughts about who I think it would be wise for Kamala to choose as her running mate. This is just a piece. I'm sure that all the different factors that people have presented to her with when they vetted various people probably gets to be a very complicated picture. But based on what I know, uh, what I think would lead me to abandon my early advocacy of, or hoping for, rooting for Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania. Uh, I've backed away from that because there's an article on Raw Story right now, which talks about, well, the Democratic base had some important elements in it. Young people of a certain political bent toward the progressive end, the kind of young people who have been very hostile to Israel in this Hamas-Israel, and then the various problems that there have been in American universities about pro-Palestinian protests, and in addition, in the swing state of Michigan, a chunk of the population, which is Arab American, that has threatened. I mean, who knew what they were going to do when Biden was heading the ticket? But it looked like he might lose Arab American vote over that issue. And this is relevant to Josh Shapiro, because whatever you may think about the issue, he's pretty far to the pro-Israeli side in all this. I have a video out there from last week called "The Tragedy of Israel," where both my pro-Israel feelings and my anti-this regime feelings, and a feeling that they've been criminal and blundering both in how they've dealt with this problem. He's further along in the pro-Israeli direction. And so if the Democratic base had going in with Biden at the top of the ticket, a potential problem of how many of those people can you get back who are angry about Biden's policies, so supportive of Israel. But otherwise would be, I don't know how many people would have voted, either stayed home. I doubt they would have voted for Trump. I mean, a lot of them would have maybe come back and overcome their anger about the Gaza policy. Biden's off the ticket. And even though the vice president is always associated with the policies of the administration, everybody knows the vice president isn't the one making the decisions behind the desk in the Oval Room. So Kamala Harris has the ability to finesse being sufficiently loyal to the administration without getting tied into an issue that was exposing a crack in the Democratic base. If she takes Shapiro, with whom I've been very impressed for a variety of reasons. I mean, he's just a very talented politician. I don't think we're hearing the last of him, and I hope not. He's done some great things as governor, like the way he took a lot of jobs that used to require a college degree, but there's nothing about getting a college degree that had to do with actually being able to do the job. He opened it up for competition to other people who don't have a college degree. That's the kind of thing, good sense, that can improve the world. And I was impressed with his making that move. And I've been impressed with other things about him. But when you've got a choice between, we could unnecessarily tie ourselves back with something which has inflicted a wound into democratic unity, namely the Israel-Gaza war. When you don't need to do that, then you don't do it. So I don't know the details about Mark Kelly of Arizona, The other person in the picture, according to future markets, is Tim Walz. I'm an advocate of Tim Walz right now, based on not knowing the stuff that they've uncovered in their vetting, but knowing a certain amount. And she has a choice of going with Tim Walz and leaving that whole schismatic issue of Israel versus Hamas, and of universities and police and protesters on First Amendment and anti-Semitism issues. Leave all that behind. And I don't know how big a factor that is, but my guess is it's a big enough factor that you don't voluntarily perpetuate it as a possible source of losing support when you don't have to. So that's my answer to the question. Why am I going from Shapiro, who I really think is, very much an A-team political figure? Not put him on the ticket this time in 2024 with Kamala Harris in the wake of this ugly situation in the Middle East. Go with the guy from Middle America. I'm not even going into the issue of anti-Semitism in America and what would it be like to put a Jewish governor of Pennsylvania, who actually was Jewish enough to go to a Jewish academy for high school. As an American Jew myself, I'm not sure that that's a smart thing to do either. But when you add some of the schisms in the Democratic base over the issue of anti-Semitism and First Amendment, I just wouldn't go there. So those are my thoughts. Of course, I'm supposed to, at the end, invite you to subscribe, send links to people who might find this of interest, the whole thing. But I will especially encourage people to go to abetterhumanstory.org, where I present a big picture that's coherent and I think puts some important things in a fundamentally different light. So please go to abetterhumanstory.org. And thanks for listening to this. Bye-bye.